Hi guys. Okay, so believe it or not, Bulgaria made a Christmas movie. A real Christmas movie with Santa, the North Pole, elves, AI taking over Santa's workshop, songs. I mean, it has everything. So of course I had to talk about it. Hallmark isn't the only one who can capitalize on the holiday. Everything they can do, we can do, but worse. The movie is called Smart Christmas, as in smartphones or smartwatches. It's about this kid, Marty, who ends up at Santa's workshop, which still runs on analog technology. So Marty upgrades the elves with computers, so they can do their job faster. But things don't go as smoothly as he thought. The movie starts with Marty's little sister asking for help writing a letter to Santa Claus. And that would have been perfectly normal if it wasn't Christmas Eve. Which is already weird because aren't you supposed to send a letter to Santa a few weeks early? It has to get to the North Pole, Santa has to read it, and then make the toy that you want. If you send it the night before Christmas, the letter's gonna get there by January. You're already too late. Santa is probably already on his way. Also in this movie, the letters get delivered when elves come to your house when you're asleep to take the letter to Santa. I think the movie is confusing the elves for the Tooth Fairy, because I've never heard of elves coming to your home when you're asleep. In fact, I only know of one elf who left the North Pole. The elves use a magic tunnel to travel between his room and the North Pole, and Marty secretly follows them. He ends up in the North Pole, where he finds out that Santa's workshop is run by the strict elf that everyone hates, a real Lumberg.
Yeah.
He gives a speech about how they have thousands of unread letters and they have to be done by midnight because that's when Santa goes out to deliver the presents. And I'm like, yeah, you're not gonna make it. It's 8 p.m. When are you going to read the letters and make the toys? And here is where we find out why they're so behind on their schedule. Turns out that the elves are really stupid. And I don't want to insult anyone, but they're really bad at their job. One guy has to check if more letters have arrived, and after 10 seconds, he forgets what he was supposed to do. It's not like they work hard, but they're overwhelmed by too much work. No, they waste time pranking each other, and they fall asleep on the job, even though there's literal ticking clock above their heads. And then, they break into a musical number about taking a break. Bureaucrats taking a break instead of doing their job. You know, for kids. So far, the movie hasn't felt very Bulgarian, but this is the most Bulgarian thing that you can do. Just stop working. Yeah, no problem guys, maybe Santa can deliver the presents in July. After hiding all this time, Marty finally gets found out. To go home, Marty has to use the magic tunnel. However, the tunnel won't open before Santa leaves to deliver the presents. But then, even more letters arrive, and the elves realize that they won't be able to check all of them on time. Christmas is ruined, and Marty is stuck on the North Pole for an year until the tunnel opens next Christmas. I mean, Santa can probably drop him off with his sled, but that's never brought up. Marty, who understandably doesn't want to live on the North Pole for an year, suggests that the elves use modern technology to speed up work. But then, Santa tells him why the workshop can't modernize. Turns out that if the elves touch technology, they become human. And that's what happened to the main elf. That's why he's all work and no fun. Santa even has a secret underground department with elves in hazmat suits making iPads for kids. Which makes no sense because look how close they were to a computer earlier in the movie when they took the letter from Marty. Wouldn't they be freaking out, or at least wear a protective gear, if simply touching technology takes their powers away? Anyway, with no other choice, Santa decides to use the new technologies. What are they doing? But remember when I said that the elves are stupid? Even though they know that they shouldn't touch any technology, this elf goes right next to the screen.
Нищо лошо няма да се случи. Няма.
How are they so dumb? And as if this wasn't enough, when Santa FaceTime with the elves, they think that the computer ate him, so they attack it. They all touch the screen, but none of them turn human. This whole conflict resolved itself. No explanation. Great. However, the main elf is still against using technology. He and Marty have a rap battle for some reason. To prove how much better technology is, Marty uses the computer to determine whether a girl was naughty or nice. What the hell? This is the most unhinged thing I've seen a kid do. Why would you do this to your friend who invited you to her birthday?
Непослушна.
She's not naughty. She's a psycho. Marty takes over the workshop. The main elf tries to fight the new order, and meanwhile, Santa tries to lose weight. He uses a VR set to keep him away from sweets. However, for some reason he sees the elf as a piece of cake and tries to eat him, which is genuinely horrifying. Once the elves start using the internet, they become even less productive. They join social media, send memes, play games, and let the computer decide who's naughty or nice. But then, Marty realizes that the computer has made mistakes and has put nice kids in the naughty list. Like for example this boy who trips somebody, but then it's revealed that he actually stopped a robber who stole a purse. From all the scenarios that the writers could have chosen, they picked something that's insanely unlikely to happen. Marty tries to cover it up, but then he sees that the elves lost their pointy ears and confesses that technology isn't that good. He goes to the main elf for help, who sings a song about how we should have fun, and the elves get their powers back or whatever. They get back to sorting who's naughty or nice before Santa starts delivering the presents. They succeed just in time, and Santa gets an MP3 player as a gift. And this is the actual music that Santa listens to while Marty confesses that he made a mistake.
Дядо Коледа, аз излъгах. Предадох всички елфи.
Thank God the movie's almost over. The magic portal opens, but Marty remembers that when he was writing the letter for his sister, he wrote that she wants a venomous spider. So he rushes to Santa and jumps on the sled in the last minute. But instead of telling Santa that he's back there, he says nothing and starts going through all the presents to make sure his sister doesn't get a spider. I was right. Santa could have just taken him home with the sled. However, just as Marty finds the present, he loses his grip and falls off the sled. Okay, that's not how it ends. Marty wakes up back home, and at first he thinks that the whole thing was a dream. But then he sees the picture he took on his phone, so he goes out to play in the snow with his family. The end. My final thoughts on Smart Christmas are that it's not that bad overall, especially the way it predicted AI. That's right, the movie came out in 2018. I think that for what it's trying to be, the movie succeeds. I just wish it got a few more rewrites because it has some good ideas. I like that in the end, the elves don't just reject the new technologies, but learn to use them responsibly and not be completely dependent on them. The movie even teaches kids some basic rules for using the internet, which I think is very important. After all, the movie could have been much worse. That is all for this video. Thank you all for watching till the end. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Peter out!